All right, so here we go. Just thought I would show this. Just unbolted this. Okay, this is the throttle cable. They have it running up and through the intake and then down under. This is almost as good as the time I seen one running underneath the transmission, but just wanted to show this. Add this into my little reel, so that's a pretty interesting one there. All right, I kind of wanted to do a little video on this car before I actually got started, but I didn't really have a lot of time. I do have some photos and an initial fire up of what this car sounded like when I got it. Just a little quick backstory here. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully the air conditioner isn't making too much noise. But let's do a little walk around. I'm going to point out some things, and I'm going to give a little bit of a backstory of what the deal is with this car. So here we go. All right, now let's just walk around this car here, check some things out. This car was a friend's brother's car. He did purchase this brand new. Right now it is currently showing, I think, like 80,000 miles. The car was used, driven, I would say driven, enjoyed. It was played hard. There was plenty of rubber up in the wheel wells, different things like that. The dent in the door, this is actually from a handlebar, and I think that's maybe this is the handlebar and that's the brake, because it kicked and bounced. But a motorcycle fell on this thing. It did have a car cover on it, which is actually in the trunk right here. This car pretty much was almost entirely stock. It had some gauges, a turbo timer, just old stuff that you would have put in this car. Being it is a 2004, it does have a Mopar Stage 2 kit on it. And it has the Borla exhaust, which none of that stuff was actually fitting up quite as well. I did kind of address some of that. A lot of the things that were wrong with this, we have addressed. We have 4 new tires that we've installed on this car. Brand new brakes on the rear. I did some adjustment to the exhaust. It was actually bent down here, nothing was lining up. It actually had the bumper burnt on both sides. This was run into here. It actually had, there was a big crack through the bumper, so we have that. We actually replaced that right now. I'm just going to try to touch this stuff up a little bit. The plans are to get paint work done to this thing later. The front bumper cover does need some paint work also. It does have some cracks. The struts were the original struts, so we actually are replacing them. I didn't know if you took notice of that. We did get the rear, it's probably too dark in here. We got the rear BC coilovers on, you can't see. Here's the front. I had a set of used ones, so we are actually installing them. This will have the stock airbox on it. Got some bolts in there to reassemble some stuff. The axle was replaced at one time here on this side, but the boots are leaking, so we're taking care of that. I just did a brand new water pump, tensioner, idler, and belt. Everything's cleaned up in here, resealed. Very nice, very clean. We did replace the coil pack because it was no good. It has, like, I just, you know what I mean, we're going over everything here, just checking everything, checking all the stuff off the list here. Changed the oil. It's getting the coolant obviously replaced and flushed. Transmission fluid's getting replaced. I flushed the clutch fluid. I flushed the brakes. We still have new front brake pads and rotors to install on the front of this, along with the front coilovers. This did have a little bit of damage down here, so we're going to get these straightened out here on both sides on the lower core support from something that happened over the years. Man, wow. it's just kind of endless. It had a clutch in it here at one time. You can see the throw-out bearing's pretty wore. We have a lot of wear on the fork, the disc. You can just see this thing was burnt up. There's dust and dirt everywhere. There's no friction material left on this thing. Look at that, look at all that just falling right off of this thing. This is some of the coolant that was in here. So I mean, this thing is getting 100% going over. There's the transmission fluid. Still kind of red, kind of brown, but it was fluid, so it looked a little warm. What else? Where are we at here? There was a timing belt around here. Maybe I can pick some stuff out of here so you can at least see what we were messing with. Timing belt was the original, okay? Original Mopar belt. Starting to get some cracking down in here. It still would have ran a little bit. Here's the inside of the water pump. You can tell there's some corrosion issues going on here. Front brake pads, hardly any material. Rear brake pad, the clips actually were broken off that go into the caliper, and no pad, which looks like 2 of them in the rear. All right. Where else? There's something else. Here's, I mean, you know, the idler, the tensioner. You know, we got, here's our brackets, here's our pipe. We cleaned all that stuff up, man. It was coated with oil really good. Here's a rear caliper. The cylinder was actually pushed out so far it didn't even want to compress. So we had issues there. I'm hoping that the fronts go together without an issue. It was missing some shifter bushings here on the cables. We did test everything. Hopefully there was enough clutch to actually get it to do what it needed to do. It seemed like it was shifting all right. Now, one more thing. Here's some of the stuff we took off. I've only ever seen 2 of these, and I found it quite amazing. I believe these to be the Oem gaskets that came on these from factory. This one here looks like it was even actually installed backwards. So I've only ever seen 2 gaskets like this. I don't know if they were the OEM gasket or something that was aftermarket, but I've only ever seen 2, and I've never seen any available like this. They're usually all like this. I either use these Felpro ones or I use OEM when I put stuff together. It all depends on what I have. So we've actually replaced the clutch. It now has a AGP fork, a new Clutch Masters clutch, which I'm not a super fan of. That's now installed. We've anti-seized up a lot of the bolts that we've had apart. Everything, I mean, looking down in this thing, you know, the cylinder all looked good and clean down through there. So I mean, you know, it's one step at a time. Right now I'm busy working on getting everything reassembled, which will include the, well, everything you see here. So we got to get everything back together: axles, front coilovers, straighten out the core support, and do a bunch of things. Hopefully this one here will be all together and actually be up at the Chrysler Carlisle show, which is a goal here. We have 2 weeks. 4th of July is this coming weekend. Hopefully I can have this video up in a couple days and you guys can check this out. I do have a couple things to do to my car yet, and we have some other people getting some other ones getting ready to get together also to go to the show locally here. Ooh, boy. So right now we're kind of crossing our fingers. You know, a bunch of money has been spent on this so far since he inherited it. Like I said, his brother did get it. It did have 46 miles on the title because he had the original title he showed me. And man, it's going to be a tribute. It's kind of nice to be able to be someone to get the chance to do this, to help out with this. So, but that's our goal. I'll probably do a closing here after I get done with this car, getting it together, showing you guys what it looks like. We got a lot of cleaning to do to this thing. We got a lot more assembling to do to this thing, and hopefully we don't find anything else. So with that being said, I'm gonna get this thing hopefully almost together today so we can drive out of this garage and go for a test drive. If you notice, we do have a good bit of stuff here reassembled. I still got to fix some of this wiring, charge pipe, maybe clean up a couple things here yet. We got to see if the headlights are working. There's all this extra wiring stuff that still needs deleted. We just did the brakes. I'm going to try to see if I can pump them up and they'll actually move, because I believe that these calipers are probably both no good just from age and the fact that they were out so far. Well, you know what I mean, I just run the brakes that bad. So everything here right now is somewhat here together. So we got the battery hooked up, timing belt's done, clutch is in, oil, transmission fluid, all the axles are in. We still need to do coolant, a couple charge pipes. I'm going to be replacing the overflow bottle because it's damaged. It's like smushed from the course for a little bit, but anyway, and I'm going to wire in the squirters for the stage 2 kit better, because that wasn't right. So I'm going to take care of that, and let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can get an initial fire and see what happens. Get this coil plugged in. Well, that's the way that should work.